You would like to have $600,000 when you retire in 30 years. How much should you invest each quarter if you can earn a rate of 2.2% compounded quarterly? How much should you deposit each quarter? How much total money will you put into the account? And how much total interest will you earn? The first thing we do when we have a finance problem is to determine what type of finance problem it is. Are we using simple interest, compound interest? Is it an annuity? Well, one way to find out is to look at how often we're going to be making deposits into our account. The first thing we see is that this account is compounded quarterly, so we know it's going to be at least, at minimum, a compound interest problem. But it also says that we're going to be investing each quarter. This means regular deposits. And when you combine compounding with regular deposits, you're thinking an annuity. And so where we're going to start is by writing down the annuity formula. So let's recall what the annuity formula is. It says that the future amount in our account is equal to the deposit that you make on a regular basis times the quantity of 1 plus r over k raised to the kn minus 1 all over r over k. And what do all those letters mean? Well, Pn is our future amount, right? That's our future amount. The D is the monthly deposit or the quarterly deposit, but the regularly scheduled deposit. So it's the deposit that's on a regular schedule. The R is our interest rate. The K is how often we're compounding per year. And the N, that's the number of years. So that's our annuity formula. We're going to keep that handy and refer to that as we do this problem. All right, so let's go back and solve A. Question A, how much should you deposit each quarter? All right, well, what are we given and what do we know? Let's see. So we know what our future amount is supposed to be. Our future amount is supposed to be $600,000. So we're going to write down $600,000 as our future amount. That's equal to D. Well, that's what we don't know, correct? We don't know how much we're depositing each quarter. But we do know the rest of the items in the formula. 1 plus R. Our interest rate is 0.022 divided by K. K is the number of compounds per year. And because we're investing in a quarterly rate, that means 4 times a year. So K is 4. This is all raised to the K times N. So that's going to be 4 times the number of years, which is 30. Subtract 1 and divide that whole quantity by R over K, which is 0.022. Again, dividing by the number of compounds per year, which is 4. In this formula, there is one unknown, and that is D, and that's what we're trying to solve for. We're trying to solve for the deposits each quarter. So how do we solve for this? Well, we first do a little bit of algebra. We're going to multiply both sides of our equation by the value in the denominator. That is, I'm going to multiply the right side and the left side of my equation by the fraction in the denominator so that it cancels. So we're going to multiply the left and the right by 0.22 divided by 4. On the left side, that'll give us 0.022 times 600,000. Oh, I have an extra 0 missing there. Divided by 4. equals, and then we're just left again with D times the leftover part, which is 1 plus 0.022 over 4 raised to the 4 times 30, so I'm just going to go ahead and write that as 120 minus 1 quantity closed. Now, on the left side, I have 0.022 times 600,000 divided by 4. And pulling out our calculator and doing a really quick calculation, we discovered that that's actually just 3,300 equal to D times the quantity of 1 plus 0.022 over 4 raised to the 120 minus 1. Now we have one last step to solve for D. We want to get D by itself right here. And so what we're going to do is divide by the rest of it that's left over. So to get D by itself, we're going to have to divide by this other stuff, which is 1 plus 0.022 over 4 to the 120 minus 1. And we're going to divide both sides by that expression. That cancels it from the right side, and it leaves us with our monthly deposit equal to 3,300 divided by the quantity of 1 plus 0.022 divided by 4 raised to the 120 minus 1, quantity closed. That was a lot of algebra. Now, if the algebra is getting you down, okay, we have a formula sheet on our notes on Canvas that actually gives you the formula straight up for D. And you can refer to that if you want. But if the algebra was good and you're following along, great. Our last step then is to evaluate. So either you use Desmos.com, this is the one that I've been encouraging my students to take advantage of, www.desmos.com. It's a free online calculator, and you can just type this expression in directly as it's written, and it'll evaluate it for you. There's also an app for the phone if you want, for Desmos too. Otherwise, use your scientific calculator, and you will come up with the following. You get D is equal to, and looking on my calculator, I get 3,543, and rounding to the nearest cent would be 45 cents. This is our monthly deposit that we need to make into our account. Not monthly deposit, but quarterly deposit. That completes part A. So if you're having problems getting this last step, that is taking that formula and going to an amount, give me a holler, reach out, and I'll be happy to sit through with you and see how your scientific calculator works with you, and also show you how Desmos works if you'd like to do that as well. All right, so that being said, let's go on and look at part B. How much money will you put into the account? Well, to answer this question, I need a little space, so let me erase the board a little bit here. And what do I need to know? In order to figure out how much money I am putting into the account, I have to know how much I'm putting in each quarter and how many years I'm going to be putting it in. So for part B, I know that each quarter I'm actually putting in that amount we just found, which is $3,543.45. Now I'm putting that in each quarter, which means I'm going to be putting it in 4 times a year. And I'm going to be doing this for 30 years. So if I invest $3,543.45 times 4 times a year times 30 years, that's going to tell me how much money I've put into the account. That tells me that we've invested $425,000 and 214. Excuse me, let me try that again. $425,214. That's how much we invested into our account. And we're now ready to do Part C. Part C says, how much total interest will you earn? Well, how do you get the interest? The interest comes from taking the future value in my account, or your account, and subtracting from it the money that you invested. And that'll tell you how much you have left over as earned interest, right? So the future value minus the money invested is going to be what your earned interest is. So let's find those amounts. In the future, we're going to have $600,000. So that's my future value. And from that, I'm going to subtract the money from Part B, which I found was how much I invested, $425,214. That gives us an interest of $174,786. Excuse me. Again, let me try that number again. That gives us $174,786 that we have accumulated in interest. If you have any questions about this problem, just reach out and contact me.